Water raining. Water is astonishing and difficult altogether, makes a meadow and a stroke.
Would you read it again?
Water raining. Water is astonishing and difficult altogether, makes a meadow and a stroke.
All right, so we're going to turn to Dave, Danny, Holly, and Kate. Dave, you're first. Any thoughts on this?
Yeah, it's a very visual poem for me in the sense that the words, mostly the sounds of the words, evoke an image of the rain, just the way it flows, but it's still halting. Each word is a little bit halting, as if you're listening to a blanket sound of individual raindrops falling. And in that sense, it's kind of like malachite, where the sounds of the words like sudden spoon seem to echo malachite, which is based on concentric circles. So I find it interesting that it seems like the words are conveying the meaning, but not based on the meaning that we give to the words. It's just the sounds of the words that are.
Mm-hmm. It's sort of what I understood when I first encountered poetry, what poetry should do, ideally, right, is to give us sounds rather than sense, sounds first, sense second. Or anyway, some kind of visuality that's not sense-making. Thanks, Dave. Danny, do you have any thoughts on this?
Actually, that was my favorite poems, the water raining. I read this, I was on my balcony, and there was like, it was raining a little bit. And it's interesting how we take water for granted, that how we do not understand the wonder of water. And this poem made me want to look at water differently. Mm. So for me, it works. I don't know if that was the intention there behind it. And it also, what's interesting, when she puts water, is it astonishing? I like, I don't know whose name was Dan, the derailment. This is what I enjoy when I'm reading Stein, because the words don't follow like you expect to, like an autofill, you know? Mm. There's just like a position of different words together makes you want to reevaluate the first word. So, yeah, I enjoyed that.
Beautiful. Fantastic. Thank you, Danny. We're going to pass the mic over to Holly. Holly's up next, and then Kate.
Was this chosen particularly for today? Because right now, in my family in Atlanta and my vacation home in Florida, I'm thinking water is very, very much on my mind.
Yeah.
And it's astonishing, even though we knew it was coming. There's an astonishing amount of water. I have read this somewhat, pretty much literally. I think of it in terms of two things. I think of painting, of watercolor with the stroke. It's astonishing, a watercolor painting, and difficult, very hard to do. And also swimming, something that I do,
yeah.
Just about every day with the strokes, and it works literally on both of those levels. Mm. And that's how this poem, how I experience the poem.
It really is painterly, yeah. Fantastic. Thank you, Holly. Kate, what are your thoughts on this?
I'm interested at the moment in the title and the redundancy of it to a large degree, and how it, in combination with the poem, makes me, as Stein always does, notice language and its hierarchies and how it works. And that, the only thing that can rain, that goes with that verb, is water. But water is this word for this huge multi-partite thing. It's something we need to paint with, or we depict in paint. It's a stroke of an oar through water. It has biological function in the making of a meadow. So this one word for this one thing isn't really, it's insufficient.
Mm. Can we ponder difficulty stay on this poem for one more second? Difficult seems like a really important word here. Why is water difficult? Ambrose, just wing it. Why is water difficult? In what way is water difficult?
in many circumstances, it's uncontrollable.
That's one thing. Another is without form, without a shape-giving container, it will not have a shape. It'll take its own shape, which is a version of what you're saying. What difficulty is like poets readers and poets who admire the kind of poetry we do, that was very circular, appreciate difficulty. And while simplicity is fun, sometimes difficulty should not be shied away from. We like difficulty. We're willing to embrace difficulty. Stein is the epitome of that. Do you think that's what's going on in this poem, or is that too programmatic for it?
I think that's part of her poetics, for sure. And I think it's seen in this poem. I actually wanted to share something that's outside of the poem, because I've been thinking about process philosophy, and she had a relationship with Alfred North Whitehead, who came up with process philosophy. And it's a philosophy where it's reconciling the intuitions of objectivity and subjectivity, so that its speculation is that the world at its most fundamental level is made up of momentary events of experience rather than enduring material substances. And I think that this is a poem that kind of demonstrates that. Particularly water is that also, and it evades its own structure. Like you said, it vaporizes, it turns to ice, it has, it takes on different shapes.
So water, in this sense, can be a model for a kind of poetry. I mean, I think that's like the key insight of this poem and so much else. And once again, Emily Dickinson is in the back of it. The brain within its groove runs evenly and true, but let a splinter swerve 'twere easier for you to put a current back when floods have slit the hills and scooped a turnpike for themselves and trodden out the mills. I mean, that water is making a poetry that is going wherever it's going to go. And she sets it up by thinking about how the brain does that too. It's just, yeah. Okay, let's peek into the comment stream, and then we're going to get final thoughts from
I
everybody.
have something related to water raining and Hua's comment from Vijaya, who writes, "We could replace water with words raining, and words astonishing and difficult altogether make a meadow and a stroke."
Thank you, Vijaya. Amber Rose, can you look at the comment stream and add a few things, and then Sophia?
I want to add this brilliant poem response that Ali contributed, a picture that is a spilled thought, a concept in glass and a wheel, a dizzy hum and nothing stilled, a single pour of reason tilts, spilled forward, backward, against, all this and not brimming, not broken, and not resembling its face in a mirror. The overflow is dreaming.
Wow, Ollie. So is it Ollie put all that into the
Yes,
stream?
in two separate comments. And I had to write and ask if it was an original poem, and he said, yes, it is. So good, Ali.
This is, I assume, our friend Ollie from San Diego, who, with his mom, takes this course. And his mom's a poet.
Perhaps.
Assuming so, hi, Ollie. Whoever you are, hi. Sophia, some stuff from the stream?
We have our friend T chiming in to say, I always think of language and how it flows like water. My mother tongue is Tagalog, which is supposed to be derived from the term Taga-Ilog, meaning of the river. And I've always liked that origin.
Wait, Tagalog means of the river?
Yeah, the derivative of it.
That's
apparently.
cool. I didn't know that.
And then T went on to say, water gives life and also kills the way language renews and also wounds. Back to Stein.